The room was quiet. A group of men sat in thoughtful silence, reflecting on an idea that challenged everything they had known about control. One of them finally spoke. For many of us, life feels like a series of external forces pushing and pulling us. Circumstances, people, past experiences. We react instinctively, often believe in our emotions, and our responses are out of our hands. Nowhere is this feeling more intense than in prison, where autonomy is stripped away, and every aspect of daily life is dictated by external authority. But what if control isn't about what happens to us, but more about how we respond? So we get to the problem, the illusion of control. As human beings, we tend to process external events in a way we've been taught to, often believing that our emotions and reactions are dictated by the world around us. This can be especially overwhelming in environments like prison, where choices are limited and the sense of powerlessness is heightened. And when people believe that their emotions, thoughts, and behaviors are purely reactions to external forces, it can lead to blame, naturally, frustration, and resignation. This is why so many people struggle with change, because they believe that their circumstances dictate their identity. But what if there's another way to think about control? Shift the perspective, change the frame. So the solution, using Stoicism as a path to inner freedom. This is where Stoicism offers a transformative perspective. Ancient philosophers developed Stoicism, which teaches us that while we cannot control the external events, we can control how we think about them and how we respond to them. And they say, when you can't change the world, change the way you see it. Despite these ancient philosophers being long gone, the way they explain human behavior is not a minute out of date. And whilst we can't bring these philosophers through the gates of HMP Dovegate, we can bring their teachings and their philosophy to the men that we work with in order to use Stoicism to create change. Bringing Stoicism to life and teaching it in prison. I'd like to bring your attention to Peter, ex-army, trained psychotherapist, and a long-time member of the Three Pillars team. Peter kicked off the whole session with a quote from Marcus Aurelius, and it would be hard to find a more pertinent one for his audience. And the quote goes like this: No one can go back and make a brand new start. Anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. In other words, freedom isn't about changing our circumstance. It's about changing our mindset and our relationship to it. Stoicism brings a sharp focus to ourselves, Peter explains. It makes us look at what we can and what we can't control. And anything that we can't control, we should let go of. And the reasons for this are very simple. I want you to think of holding a glass of water. You may hold the glass of water for a minute and it feels like nothing. But if you hold that glass of water for 5 minutes, you start to feel the weight. If you hold that glass of water for an hour, your arm begins to ache and your muscles start to fatigue. And if you can think of holding that glass for years, you can imagine the problems that would come from that. Sometimes letting go, irrelevant of blame, is the way forward. Not for them, but for you. Peter has a unique approach, blending philosophy with psychotherapy to help participants connect deeply with their ideas. And this concept resonated powerfully with the men. Instead of seeing themselves as victims of their past and of their circumstances, they began to shift their attention to what was within their power, their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions. Because after all, when the door locks behind you, yes, your freedom has gone. But once you admit and you take accountability for your role to play that got you there, you do not become powerless. You become powerful because you become the master of your own fate for the future. Peter's sessions were dynamic and interactive. I'm very theatrical when I present, he said. No interaction is wasted. There is no subject which is off limits. By using real-life examples and visual tools from psychotherapy, he helped participants understand it's not just philosophy, but also the science behind human behavior, how our minds are shaped by experiences and how we can rewire them. The impact of this is a shift in perspective. After just 4 sessions, the impact was undeniable. When I asked Peter about the participants' reactions, he smiled. It was very human, which is exactly how it should be. There's no predetermined outcome when you teach Stoicism. It simply holds up a mirror to people so they can see themselves through a different lens. Self-reflection is the only true outcome. The men shared their thoughts. We should be teaching this in schools. I've never considered that there is another way to think about my experiences. I didn't realize we had this in us. Now I get it. Some even started applying Stoic principles in their relationships. Some participants use what they're learning to assist them in their relationship with their peers, prison officers, and families, demonstrating that inner change has a ripple effect. Final thoughts. True freedom starts within. Epictetus once said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. This is the essence of Stoicism. It teaches that our thoughts shape our reality. Whilst we cannot always control what happens, we can always control how we interpret and respond to it. There's a very simple equation for this. E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals the outcome. And for most times, a lot of people can believe that the event is 90% and our response is only 10%. But in fact, if we reframe this for the event to be 10% and the way that we respond to be 90%, well, then we are in control of our outcome. And life no longer happens to us, it happens for us. As this course continues until December, we look forward to seeing how these men continue to transform, not because their circumstances have changed, but because they have.